Hey everybody, Georgia Jagger here, stampingeorgia.com, and I am super excited, as always, to share another fun idea with you. And I tend to go for super simple, but yet they look stellar. That's my favorite, and this is one of those. So we're gonna do this fun sponging technique to get this background, and I used one of my new favorite stamp sets, Rooted in Nature. So come on, let's get started. So here's the card again. Isn't that just a really pretty technique? I'm going to try add a little bit more light onto what I'm doing here. And this is created by simply using these colors of ink here. Rich Razzleberry, Poppy Parade, and Mango Melody. Those two are new. This one's a returning in color. And so what I'm going to do is start with my piece of white. This particular one that I showed you that I've done already, this is 2 1/4 across. It's just Whisper White cardstock, and so then I've added 1/4 of an inch for my black for that background. I decided I want to try it, and you'll get to see it first, doing a little narrower, so I just cut it down by 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to set my black aside. And I tried it both ways, starting with the lightest to darkest, and I decided I liked the outcome better in the way I sponged with the darkest. And you can practice. And I'm using just a piece of one of our Stampin' Sponges that come round. I cut them into smaller pieces, and then use one of these paper clips so I have something to hold on to, and I won't get quite as messy. What's beautiful about sponging is you can make things as dark or light as you want. It's personal preference, and I like to sponge in a circular motion. And I love getting the edges because they end up being just a little bit darker. I'll leave that open in case I need to go back and use that. And you notice I'm mixing. I don't have all the new pads yet. Obviously that's a goal, but for now I'm making do with the colors that I have. And now I'm doing onto Poppy Parade, and you notice I overlap the two. And what's fun is as it dries too, it actually continues to change. And then the last one, the Mango Melody. Love that Stampin' Up's colors now have that little extra label to put in the trough when you have it open, so you can tell what color you're dipping in. And obviously these three are pretty different from each other, but sometimes they're pretty similar. So now I've got all three of my colors. If I want to go back and do a little bit of blending, I can do that so it doesn't look like so much of a line. And again, it does continue to change as it dries. And we'll go one more time with the Rich Razzleberry. Okay, so I'm just going to close those up quick. And this is so easy to do. I've got a little spritz bottle that I have just water from the tap, and I am going to just spray that lightly. I want a few that look kind of splotchy, and you will see what happens in just seconds. You will start to see kind of white spots, and you can go back and add more if you want more spots. But I say start light because you can always add more, but it makes for a really, really pretty background. I need to get my fingers clean before I start messing with my white card. So I like to keep some wipes handy. That's just a good tip. Have those handy, something to wipe your hands on other than your jeans, which those work too. And then I'm going to do my stamping on my card. So I'm just going to put a little bit of snail adhesive just to hold it in place. And actually, I think I'm going to flip that. You can see I did it before, but I want to make sure this is dry. And I'm just going to position that. I'm going to try and get it straight on my card and just kind of hold it in place in those places. Then I'm going to take my stamp. I've taken the tree stamp, and I'm going to stamp it 3 times. and I will re-ink it every time. When I'm doing these large stamps like this, I do like to ink from the top. I'm using my Memento because this, I want it to dry quickly, and it is. And then I'm going to make sure to stamp partly on the card and partly on my background. And no worries about that little spot, because you'll see my trick how to take care of that. So I'm going to do that 2 more times. And I don't want all my trees to be identical in height, so I'm just kind of moving it a bit. And I don't even want them to be spaced evenly. If they do end up that way, it's okay, but that's not what I was trying for. So now I've got my 3 trees. I'm just going to lift this. And that's why you don't want to use a lot of adhesive. A tool that will help with that is a bone folder, but I see I didn't leave one next to my desk here. So I'm just pulling that off. I'm just going to add some more snail. And then this will go on my basic black, which is the same width. It's 5 and a half, same width as across the card. And it's just a 1/4 inch bigger, so it's really 2 3/8. Just an eighth smaller than a half. And there you have it. And now here's where the fun part happens. So you can see all I need to do now is take that and match my previous stamping, and it covers up that little gap of black ink, and then there's nice room for my sentiment. There really isn't that much difference, but it gave me a little bit more of my tree trunks and my tree that could go outside of my background. See how they all turn out differently. There's a few more splotches over there. I love this one where it's got splotches, and here's yet another one. No 2 will turn out alike. And then I used one of the greetings from that same stamp set, Rooted in Nature. I can change that up and use a different one on this one. So that's really all it is. Fast and simple. You can pump these out and make multiple cards at once. I recommend never make less than 1, because you had to cut your piece of cardstock in half to make the first one. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you'll give this fun sponging technique a try.